Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on this Friday afternoon here in Berlin. My name is Sangeetha George and I will be your host for today. Today we're going to be talking about accommodation and student life in Barcelona. So thank you for being here, and we will start in the next few minutes, but thank you for being here on time, and we will be starting shortly. Earlier, today we're going to be talking about accommodation and student life in Barcelona, and particularly in terms of studying at the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Gianmarco, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
You can. Great. Okay. So just to go into a little bit of introduction with regards to who's on this webinar today, for all of you as an audience, my name is Sangeetha George, and I am the Student Engagement Manager here at the Berlin School of Business and Innovation at the Berlin campus. And I think some of you have already seen me before. I'm not a new face. But we do have a special guest who is going to be sharing his expertise with us, and that's Gianmarco Rossini. Gianmarco is actually the Student Welfare and Careers Officer at BSBI on our Barcelona campus. And he wrote me a little bit of a description today, so I'm just going to go through that just so that you'll have a better understanding of who he is. He's, like I said, responsible for the Student Welfare and Careers. He provides services that's linked to non-academic issues and also career-related issues, like helping students with their CV, providing advice on job searches, preparing students for interviews. And what's great is that Gianmarco's had previous experience as a foreign student in Barcelona, which gives him a realistic and first-hand understanding of the situations that probably students go through in terms of finding accommodation and just settling in a new city. And so he's here to share some tips and tricks and some advice that he probably went and got when he was a student in Barcelona. I've had actually the opportunity to work with Gianmarco on various projects, and I still do. And I can vouch for the fact that he always has the best interest of students in mind. So Gianmarco, thank you so much for being with us here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation, Sangeetha. Yeah, nice to meet all of you.
Great. Okay, so just before we go into asking Gianmarco some questions, I just want to quickly go through the agenda for today. We did the introductions, and also I will talk a little bit about BSBI if you're not sure about it, and why you need to choose BSBI as your destination or your business school for your higher education. We'll talk also about accommodation services, what we provide as a business school, and also just in general about the student experience that you can have if and when you choose our campus in Barcelona. So for those of you who are not familiar with who we are, what we do is we are a business school that provides education to prepare and to hone students to be impactful global career leaders, to have access to some quality education, and also to make sure that you are prepared for the field of work. So our focus is on enterprise, on leadership and success, because those are three key things that anyone who goes into the workplace for the first time needs. And so we want you to think like an entrepreneur. We want you to have leadership skills. And of course, we want you to be successful. And so this is obviously fostered in every classroom that you come into, regardless of our campus. We have a very inclusive and innovative and supporting learning environment here. And it's just getting better and better as we move along. BSBI is actually a part of GGG, which stands for GUS Germany GmbH. And that is actually the bigger umbrella is GUS, which is Global University Systems. And we all come under the family of GUS. And we have, I think, over 20,000 students in all of the GGG institutions put together. and they have multiple business schools and campuses all around Europe, and actually even one in Dubai right now. Just to give you some statistics with regards to BSBI, we have multiple campuses. We have a Berlin campus where I'm sitting. We have all our creative arts programs that are run from our Hamburg campus. We have a campus in Paris, a campus in Barcelona where Gianmarco is, which is fairly new, but really, really growing very quickly. And hopefully very soon, a campus in Athens too. In total, we have over 7,000 students in terms of students and alumni all put together. We have more than 5,000 students that are currently enrolled. Even just looking at our October intake, we had over 2,000 students that came onto our campus here in Berlin. And we always love to boast about the fact that we have over 100 student and alumni nationalities here on all of our campuses, which I think is such a great learning experience for you all coming in as students. Why BSBI? I'm just going to really quickly go through some of these points. If you look at all of our campuses, regardless of the city, you will see that they're all centrally located, close to supermarkets and restaurants, and more than anything else to transportation, which all of us or all of you will need as students. We talked about the multiple study locations that we have. Love the fact that we have a diverse community. So not only in terms of students, but also the kind of staff that we have. You will see we have staff from all over the world. I will talk a little bit more about the memberships that we have, but some of the memberships that we have right now are the Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, the Prime, PRME, the Erasmus Plus, and of course, we are a bronze member of the BGA. All of our programs are taught in English. I know a lot of students are skeptical to come, for example, to Berlin. They always talk about the language barrier, but all of our classes are held and all of our programs are taught in English, so you don't need to worry about that. However, if you are planning to look for a job, it is recommended that you do learn a little bit of the language of the city that you're planning to be. So whether it's here in Berlin, some German, some French for Paris, and of course some Spanish for Barcelona. We have a really, really impressive career and employment support that we offer for our students. We understand already before you come to our campuses that one of the biggest needs that you will have as a student is to find maybe a mini job or a part-time job and eventually a full-time job. So we prep you right from the beginning of how you need to have your CV in place, interview skills, how you need to write a cover letter, what kind of etiquette do you need to have when you go into the workplace. So we do all of that, and also various visits that we have to companies, and also we have career fairs on our campuses. For those of you who are planning to come to Germany, we have free legal support that we offer to our students, especially when you're finished and you're getting on a job seeker visa and you want a residence permit, things like that, or a working visa. Then we have partnered with a law firm that will offer you the guidance that you require, because normally that would be really, really expensive to get in a country like Germany. We do have free language classes, especially in German and in French. So for those of you coming to Berlin, we have German, of course, and for those who are planning to go to Paris, we have French classes. And also we offer free executive education courses, which are what we call professional certificates. These are for free. We want you to have as many certifications as possible when you're with us. So either through micro-credential courses or professional certificate courses, you're able to gain a better understanding of the program of your choice. Going back to our memberships, here's one that we are very proud of. We are a PRME champion for 24-25. We actually just had a PRMA conference with over 100 different delegates from around the world who were here on our campus in Berlin a couple of months ago. So we were recognized for our impactful contributions in thought and action leadership. Remember, I told you that's one of our biggest focuses for our students, to have really, really good leaders graduate out of BSBI. We've also received our Outstanding Organization Award. This happened in Dubai earlier on this year in February. and we were very, very proud of being a part of the Education 2.0 conference and receiving this award. And we've also been nominated for different ones, like the Education Investor Award in 2024, the Pioneer Awards, and also shortlisted for the QS Reimagination Education Awards. So these are just a handful. And I know as we grow as a business school and as an institution, these awards are only going to get bigger and larger. And we're really, really looking forward to having all of you as part of our business school very, very soon. So just moving on to talking about accommodations, and I'm not sure if you all are thinking, why are you guys doing a webinar on accommodation? Well, if you have any of your friends who are studying on our campuses, you will see or hear that one of the biggest challenges that students face, or anyone faces when moving to a country, is to find the right accommodation, to make sure that you find accommodation that's best suited to you, and that is affordable, and that is not a scam, and that you're comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable where you're living, everything is not going to be comfortable for you. It'll be discomfort all the time. So we want to prep you in advance already. And this is something that we want to talk about. And that's why Gianmarco's here with us, and he's going to be sharing. So Gianmarco, just even as we start, can you tell me a little bit about the kind of resources or support that BSBI provides for students that are looking for housing?
Okay, so prior to that, what we have the admin email for students to contact us throughout their visa application process, where they can write to us and also ask us about certain things regarding the accommodation. And what we do when you're first registered here for as future students is we send you more information regarding what platforms we use to be able to find an accommodation. And so what with the resources we have we have a few things that we share, for example, with platforms such as Spot at Home, or also with the Agora Student Residence, where, for example, with Spot at Home, which is a platform where you look for certain rooms, where you look for apartments, you can have a 30% discount as a student on the reservation fee. And also you have the Agora Residence, which is about 15 minutes away from here, from our campus here in Set in Barcelona, where you can also have a discount as a student. Yeah. And as well as that, what we do at the beginning when you're first registering and you're first receiving our emails, is that you also have the option of applying for the service of a student concierge club, which is also a very useful tool for students who are looking for homes, because they have the people in the student concierge club provide information regarding where it would be good to stay, what they help you find accommodation and give you very useful advice for the process. Yeah. And what we usually recommend, since you're students typically apply for a visa that lasts for 90 days. So usually the students that arrive here, they have a short-term accommodation plan. Some of them stay with families, some of them stay in hostels or other student residences. And throughout that time, they search for accommodation. And usually that's the more useful thing, the best way the way we advise students to do it, because otherwise there's always the option of going through through the portals of finding accommodation, which I'll list afterwards. But usually most of the people that rent out rooms request visits, and so it's good for students to come here and find a short-term accommodation, and then do these interviews with people who are renting out rooms, so they can see if they have some sort of affinity or other factors that could influence whether they want to stay in that place or not. Yeah. So
Okay.
this is. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've talked about the little partnerships, but what typically kind of accommodation do students look for? Like, what are the options that they have in terms of the types of apartments or accommodations they can find?
Well, the students have options of staying in a residence, which is nearby. They have, since they have more, they're a bit pricier, but they include everything. They include food. They have gyms. They have a lot of things that the students could that they could use. And some of the students choose to stay in these residencies, but also other options are they can rent whole apartments, entire apartments, or what
Yeah,
students more typically is that they find a room. So there are a lot of there are a lot of there are a lot of residencies or apartments that are shared by more students,
right.
and these students rent out rooms, and usually price wise it's better. It's a lot more accessible, yeah,
More
for students
affordable
as well.
also,
Yeah,
right?
it's what we recommend. Yeah.
Okay,
and
excellent.
mhm.
Yeah, go carry on. Yeah.
and with these platforms, which I'll explain later, there are platforms where you can have the option of finding a room and or also finding an entire apartment where you can stay at. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Can you walk us through the process of finding accommodation in Barcelona?
Okay. So students usually once they have the visa, they can come over here. A lot. So for the first days, like I said, they can students have the option of finding a short-term accommodation, which there are a lot of very different options. Which can be there's a place here that there's a hotel here near our campus, which is called the Hotel Alimara, where
Okay.
students can receive a 15% discount. And there are also students who stay with families, and during this time they can stay there for 2 weeks or a week. And throughout this time, they can look through, they can find they can use the platforms like Idealista, like Bali or Fotocasa, and the students can search for different districts in Barcelona where they could where they feel they could be closer, or they can have a good quality of life. And
Yeah,
usually when we're on the orientation weeks, we recommend different districts on where the students could uh, where there are which places are best for students to stay. Yeah.
of course.
And
Yeah.
so during this time where they can find a short-term accommodation, and throughout this time while you find short-term accommodation, there are a lot of they have the time to do interviews, to look through and to look for different apartments or different rooms. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good window of time to be able to look for an accommodation. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what after working with a lot of students now and also being a student yourself, what kind of challenges do students face when they're looking for accommodation or settling in, and how do you propose that they can get over it? How do they overcome these challenges?
So one of the common challenges is that students don't find accommodation in the center, or it takes some time to find a place where they can stay. And usually it's the cases when they're looking in the center of Barcelona. Yeah, sometimes there are more common places where a lot of people want to rent. For example, in the center, in Eixample, and certain districts within the center of Barcelona where the rent is where more people rent or find places to stay. And usually that takes a lot more time if you're looking within the city center, or you're looking for somewhere that's well connected. Uh, so to be to sort of, in case that happens, where that they can find accommodation in the center, there are other districts around Barcelona in the periphery, like for example where the campus is located here in Horta Guinardó. or in Novares, there are a lot. There's some that are not so close to the ocean, to the beach, and
To the
so
beach.
these places are usually there where more local people stay, and the rent usually isn't that expensive, and so there are also a lot of rooms where students can rent. So we recommend that students also look for places in the periphery as well. There
Right.
even though it may be the periphery, Barcelona is very well connected. They have a very good train system, and so it's usually not that difficult for students to get around, even though they live maybe further away. It could at most be about half an hour, and a half an hour travel, and usually there are no problems, since we have students here that live in places that aren't even Barcelona. Sometimes they live in Hospitalet or they live in Barcelona, but they manage to come to class, and they live a very good quality of life. Yeah.
I think if the connections are good with the transportation, then it really doesn't, I mean, it doesn't matter if they stay a little bit away from the campus also. Yeah. It's the same here also. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the connection's very good. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. And do you have any, before we move on to just talking about student life in Barcelona, do you have any tips of how students could manage accommodation expenses, or just tips in general with regards to accommodation?
So what we recommend usually for students is that they look for rooms. Yeah. Usually the renting whole apartments can cost from 900 euros to 1,400 euros, and usually it's above a lot of the budgets of a lot of students. And since this is also a student city, like a lot of people come from different parts to be able to study here. A lot of students have small rent apartments, and so usually for students who have a budget of around 500 to 700, or maybe even less than 500, we recommend that they look for rooms, because usually the apartments are pretty large in size, and they have more rooms, so it's also good quality of life. It's a better quality.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot. It's better with the price quality relation. Yeah, for students who
Yeah.
find rooms instead of apartments.
Excellent. Okay, so just talking on behalf of Gianmarco, I think if anyone's interested, please go ahead and send an email. This is the email address on the screen, right? Gianmarco, admin.barcelona@berlinsbi and campus.barcelona.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
our
Okay,
address.
great. So please go ahead and send an email if you want any kind of help or requests and what you're looking for. And Gianmarco and the rest of the team will be able to assist you and hopefully meet you at your point of need with regards to what you need, even before you get to Barcelona. I think, if I'm not wrong, even when you're applying for your visa, your student visa, it is, I think it's mandatory to show that you found accommodation, right, Gianmarco?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And maybe initially you can find short term, like Gianmarco had already said, maybe find a short term stay initially so that the embassy knows that you found a place to stay. But then you can also write to them at the same time to BSBI and see what are the options that you will have. So thank you for that information, Gianmarco. Just moving on a little bit to give our students or our audience here a little bit of a perspective of what it's like to be in Barcelona. Can you tell us a little bit more about the campus environment and what it's like in BSBI Barcelona?
So the campus here of BSBI, we share that campus with SET, which is a school of tourism, hospitality, and gastronomy, and they have a lot of facilities here that are very oriented towards cooking, and so the food is very delicious because a lot of interns that are actually training to be chefs cook here, and they have a lot of very good food. And the campus, usually the facilities here are modern. You have a library, you have you also have like study rooms, in the underground rooms, and there's a lot of mobility. Even though it's not a very large campus, it's very personal. You have a small small courtyards where you can drink coffee, and it's a very calm place, for
Sounds
students, and
exciting.
also like a very personal, a very personal feel to it. And yeah, the our campus is also, like I said, it's very modern. There are a lot of modern parts, very lovely parts, and
Yeah.
it's very student friendly. Yeah.
I guess we will have to come for ourselves and see it, right?
Yeah.
Also, can you talk a little bit about career opportunities? How does living in Barcelona enhance career opportunities for students?
Well, Barcelona, since it's a port city, they have a lot. It's very logistics oriented. You have a lot of business schools here in Barcelona because it's also very business oriented. It's also a very cosmopolitan city. A lot of people from different parts of the world. A lot of immigration from South America, from other parts of Europe, from other parts of the world as well. And usually, since it's they have a very strong business sector, the Spanish or Catalan is not always mandatory. You have a lot, if you speak other languages, it's also very useful. For English speakers, it's not impossible to find student jobs if you don't speak Spanish, because
Mm.
it's like I said, it's a very a cosmopolitan city, and there's a lot of movement here regarding with logistics, and a lot of different sectors, a lot of foreign investment that also makes the city very friendly towards people who are coming to study here in other languages or to work here in other languages. And so it's all for people who are interested in finance and logistics and a lot of these areas. It's a very interesting place to be able to familiarize yourself more with it, and be able to sort of soak up the culture here that's also very business oriented. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. How, just being an international student yourself, what do you think makes Barcelona unique or a unique city for international students?
Where Barcelona is very since it's very business oriented, but it's also culturally very has a lot of things going for it. For example, you have what they have a lot of very um, they have public museums that have open doors once a month, and people can enter free of charge. There are a lot of cultural events regarding cinema, regarding book readings or um, publishing, and people can also use. They have a very good library network of public libraries where students can find places to study, and where they can borrow books and return them in any other library that's within the network. It's very efficient in that sense. So for students or for people who enjoy reading, who enjoy cinema, who enjoy a lot of cultural things, it's an incredible city to be in. Since you have a lot of a lot of cultural exportation. I mean, from other parts of the world, a lot of
Yeah.
authors come from different parts of the world. A lot of movie producers. You have a lot of festivals, like for example in Sitges, where you can see where you can see the movie festival there. You also have uh, you can also travel to Girona. You have the Night of the Museums here, and throughout the year you have events that are very attractive for students. Usually a lot of cultural events in different parts of the city, in different districts, that are also great options for students here do something outside of university or to develop other interests. And it's also very recommendable.
Yeah, well, you covered my next question for you also. I was going to ask you about the events, but it sounds like there's a lot of cultural events, like going to the museums, and there's a lot of art and history also, I think, in Barcelona, which I think is great. And then the coast is right there, right? The beach is right there too, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is one of the biggest points, I think, a plus point for any, I mean, I'm imagining myself as a student, that would definitely be a plus point. And I think weather, right? Isn't it much warmer than everywhere else? Like, we're freezing here.
Yeah, it's incredible. The weather is a great place, makes it a really great place to go outside and to do some activities. And like Sangeetha said, since they have a beach there, you have a lot of volleyball courts, you have a lot of sports that you practice on the beach. And for students who arrive here alone, a lot of good things that they do is that they what a lot of services they have that favor the students is that they have monthly volleyball classes that are very accessible. And so in those cases, a lot of students use that opportunity to play team sports and to mingle with people who are local here, and also establish like their routines that they share with other people, like I said, volleyball, which is a very common sport that they play here, and that they in the summer you can go to the beach and play with a lot of people who are just random there. Yeah.
It's a great way to meet new people also, I think. Yeah. Audience, if you have any questions for Gianmarco with regards to campus life, with regards to Barcelona and studying in Barcelona, accommodation, please feel free to put it in the chat box right now. I have one last question for Gianmarco, and that would be, what advice would you give to students preparing to move to Barcelona?
Well, the first advice, like I said in the beginning, you find some short-term accommodation, and to be able to look for a place with more calmly, and also try not to rush when finding a place, because usually there's a lot of there are a lot, sometimes there can be mismatches, or we've also had students with experiences that with people who weren't that weren't so positive. So it's good that you take your time, that you don't rush finding a place, that you need to be calm when you do this. And so it's also good before getting there, when you find short-term accommodation, to already start contacting people through the platforms, and start looking for options in the platforms of where you can stay. Yeah, like for example, if you're maybe a month ahead, find rooms that could be renting around the times you arrive here, and start scheduling interviews with people who are maybe renting rooms, and as soon as you get here, or the week you're here, so you can already start getting things going. Yeah. And so and these platforms like Buddy or Spot at Home, if you want, we can share it with you later. They have the option of you can look when they will be renting out rooms, and once you're here, you can already start scheduling meetings or visits, and that's something that we recommend. Yeah, so you don't lose time. Yeah, but also have so that you're also able to do it calmly.
Yeah, I love that. Really, really good and valid points that you've told them what they need to do. Also, students, the email address where you need to write is still on the screen. Please go ahead and write to Gianmarco if you need to. If you didn't understand or want clarity with anything that we talked about, I'm sure he'd be happy to help you. We're actually at the end of our webinar. But if there is, and we will be sending you this PowerPoint, so then you will be able to get access to the email address and also the different web pages. We're going to wait a couple of minutes before we end this webinar. If there's any of you who want to ask a question, now would be a good time. And if you did not see the email addresses for Gianmarco, you can also write to ask@berlinsbi.com, which is an email address that I check. So if you have any other questions, maybe related to your admissions or related to visa guidance or anything of that sort, or the possibilities of transferring to Berlin once you start in Barcelona, which is a definite possibility, you can write into us and we would be happy to help you. So Gianmarco, thank you once again for sharing such valuable information. It sounds like you shared your own experience and what you've been through, and also just what our students are probably going through right now. So really, really good points to keep in mind, and great information. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Audience, any questions? Or actually, for the first time, it was loud and clear, all the information that we wanted to share with you. We've given you all the email addresses. You have what you need. And we are hoping that you will be a part of BSBI very, very soon. And please know that you are not alone in this, that we are here to help you and to support you. Gianmarco in Barcelona, and I'm here in Berlin. So please feel free to write to us. And I hope you got the information that you needed and enough tips and tricks of what you need to do in order to find yourself some accommodation. So if there's no questions, I will then say goodbye to all of you, and also to you, Gianmarco. Thank you once again so much for being here with us today. And we really, really appreciate your help and support. Audience, students, thank you for being here too. And we look forward to having you on our campuses very, very soon. Thank you and have a great day, everyone. Bye.